Have you ever bought something or maybe watched a movie and then had that weird feeling like, wait a minute, was that really my idea? Well, there's this powerful force at play in our digital world, and it's shaping our reality in ways we can barely even see. It's not magic. It's not some grand conspiracy. It's technology. And today, we're going to pull back the curtain. You know that feeling, right? It's a little uncanny. You get a movie recommendation that is exactly what you were in the mood for, or an ad pops up for a pair of shoes you were just thinking about. It feels like your phone is reading your mind, but the reality is way more complex, and honestly, a lot more interesting. We're calling it the invisible hand of tomorrow. Now, this isn't some abstract economic theory. This is a very real, very powerful system of algorithms working behind the scenes. It's subtly nudging our choices, influencing our behavior, a lot of the time without us even realizing it. So today, we're going to make that invisible force visible. Okay, so how does this invisible hand actually work? Well, it all starts with the ability to predict the future, or at least a version of it. At its heart, predictive AI is basically a giant pattern matching machine. It digs through enormous amounts of data, what you've clicked on, what you've bought, where you've been, and it uses those patterns to make some surprisingly accurate guesses about what you're going to do next. This is the engine that powers pretty much everything, from your social media feeds to your credit score. But here's a really important thing to understand. These systems aren't psychic. They aren't predicting your actual thoughts or your deepest desires. What they're doing is predicting the behavior of a digital model, a proxy, that's been built to look like you based on your data trail. And this gap, the space between who we really are and who our data says we are, that's where things start to get really complicated. And that complication leads us straight to the central conflict of our algorithmic age, this fundamental trade-off between all the convenience we get and the autonomy we might just be giving up. I mean, on one hand, the promise is incredible. You can't deny it. We get amazing convenience, personalized experiences that just make life easier. Predictive models are even leading to better health outcomes and making things safer. But on the other side of that coin, there's a real danger. That algorithmic nudging that feels so helpful can easily cross the line into manipulation. And these systems, if we're not careful, can end up reinforcing old biases and lead to this gradual chipping away of our own personal autonomy. This quote from the Cornell Law School community just nails it. It's not about one single choice being influenced. It's about the slow, creeping effect of thousands of tiny, algorithm-guided decisions that, over time, can subtly reshape who we are and what we even think is possible for ourselves. And look, this isn't just about what movie to watch next. This tech is being used in some incredibly high-stakes situations. It's helping to decide who gets a loan for a house, who gets hired for a job, and even who is considered a risk to society. These are decisions that can fundamentally change the course of a person's life. And this creates a really critical problem. If these predictive models are trained on data from a world that's already unequal, well, they can learn and even amplify those inequalities. They can create this dangerous feedback loop where it becomes cheaper and more efficient to just manage high-risk people, instead of making the hard long-term investments in things like education or healthcare that would address the root causes of that risk in the first place. Now, this all sounds pretty heavy, and yeah, it is, but it's not hopeless. The whole conversation is shifting. We're moving away from just marveling at what AI can do to asking tough questions and demanding accountability for how it does it. And let's be totally clear, the benefits are real and they're measurable. In healthcare, for instance, predictive analytics is making a huge difference. It's helping reduce hospital readmissions and giving more people access to preventive care. The goal here isn't to get rid of the tech. We don't want to throw the baby out with the bathwater. So that brings us to the biggest question of all, right? How do we tap into the incredible potential of this technology while making sure we protect our values, things like fairness and our own autonomy? The answer really comes down to one core idea: algorithmic accountability. It's this simple principle that algorithms don't just exist in a vacuum. The people and the companies that build them and use them have to be answerable for the consequences, both the good and the bad. So how do we get there? It really rests on three main pillars. First up is transparency. We have to be able to peek inside that black box and understand the logic behind these decisions. Second is audits. Just like you have financial audits, we need independent watchdogs checking these systems for fairness and bias. And third, we need regulation. We need clear rules of the road to set standards and protect people when things go wrong. And this isn't just theory. We're actually building the tools to make this happen right now. There are things like explainable AI or XAI, which are designed to make these complex models understandable. So instead of an AI just saying loan denied, an explainable system could tell you why. Maybe it was a specific debt to income ratio. Independent audits are becoming more common, and we're seeing legal frameworks like Europe's GDPR and even public algorithm registries in cities like Amsterdam and Helsinki that are creating a whole new standard for accountability. All of this, it's all building towards a future that looks really different from our past. A future where our own human agency and artificial intelligence are going to be deeply, deeply connected. I really love this quote because it completely reframes the whole issue. It suggests the future isn't some battle of humans versus machines. Instead, it's about a new kind of partnership, what he calls distributed agency, where our ability to make things happen in the world is shared with our technology. And the most important job we have right now is to figure out the terms of that partnership. And that really leaves us with this final fundamental question. As that invisible hand of AI becomes more and more present in our lives, shaping our information, our opportunities, our choices, we have to keep asking ourselves, what does it truly mean to be in control? What does it mean to choose freely? That's the conversation we all need to be having.